gonna do today is learn how to solve triangles that are not right. So we learned how to solve triangles that are right, and we found 3 different things about a triangle. But to do that, we use sine, which is opposite over edge, or hypotenuse. We use Pythagorean theorem, those types of things. And you can't use that for oblique triangles. So there's 2 laws that we're gonna learn. We're gonna talk about law of sines today, and then we're gonna talk about law of cosines next week for like 3 days, okay? And what these are 2 different laws that we use to be able to tell for missing sides and missing angles of an oblique triangle, a triangle that does not have a right angle. One of the things we're gonna have to do as we go through this is know when we use law of sines and when we use law of cosines. So what happens, you guys probably remember doing triangle proofs, and we had angle, angle, side. If you ever have 2 angles in a row and then a side, you use law of sines, okay? The other time we use law of sines is if it's angle, side, angle, where the side is in between the 2 angles, okay? There is a third time. Do you guys remember talking about ASS, and that wasn't one that worked, right? Of course, they call it side-side angle, not ASS, but this one does actually work, but it's kind of intense how you solve it. You can get 3 different, it's this one right here. You can get 3 different solutions, and it's kind of hard. So we don't teach this until you get to trig, okay? So we're only gonna work with angle, angle, side, and angle, side, angle. You'll learn this when you take college trig in high school. So let's go to this page, and we are gonna start this triangle here. And this is going to be just like where we have 3 things to solve for, and we're gonna write that up here. So the first thing I need to solve for is the measure of angle B. And then what they do in this chapter quite a bit, thanks, Kim. What they do in this chapter quite a bit is they label, if this is angle A, this is little a. This is angle B, this is little b. And if this is angle C, this is little c, okay? So A is something I need to find, and little b is something I need to find. Now, for you to use law of sines, you need one angle and its opposite side. You need to know both of those. And if you look here, I don't know little a, I don't know little b, but I do know angle C and side C. So when I do law of sines, I'm going to want to do sine of C over little c. The formula is you always take sine of an angle over its side. So those are the 2 I know. Now what I'm gonna do is just decide, do I wanna find little a or do I wanna find little b? And it doesn't matter which one you do first. Let's find a. So I'm gonna say sine of a over little a, okay? Now I substitute in what I know. So I do sine of 72 over little c, which is 375, and that equals sine of a, which is sine of 15, over little a, which is what I'm looking for, okay? And then what I do is cross products. So I'm gonna multiply this, and I get sine 72a equals, and then I'm gonna multiply this, and when I do that, I put the whole number in front of the trig function. So I'm gonna go 375 sine of 15. So this is basically like times sine of 15. Now, I need to solve for A, so I am going to divide. This is like sine of 72 times A, so I'm gonna divide by sine of 72. This is important, you guys. When you're doing this, after this, hit enter on your calculator before you divide by sine of 72, okay? So let's go ahead and do that on our calculators. Okay, so if I go 375 sine 15, enter, divided by sine 72. Did you guys get 102.05? Okay, so that's little a is 102.05. Okay, so up here, a is 102.05. Now, one thing I could have done right away at the beginning is found angle B. Would that be easy to do? Yeah, because if you know two angles and you're looking for the third, don't you add them and subtract from what? 180, right? So let's do that. Let's add A and C, which is 15 plus 72, which is 87. And then we're gonna subtract that from 180, and that would give us 93, and that would be angle B right here, okay? Now to do little b, we have to use law of sines again, okay? And I typically keep using sine of c and little c, so I would just go sine of c over little c, but this time I'm finding little b, so I'd go sine of b over little b. So sine of c is sine of 72. Little c is 375. Sine of b, I just found, so I have to write that in. So I have to know this, which I found, okay? So this would be sine of 93 over little b, okay? Do cross products. So I have sine of 72b equals 375 sine 93. Then we're gonna divide by sine 72. These are gone. And so we're gonna type in sine, or 375 sine 93, enter, and then divide by sine of 72. So 375 sine 93, enter, divided by sine 72. Did you get 393.76? Is that right? Claire, is that what you got? It is, right? Okay. So that is 393.76. One way that you can kind of check your answers here, do you see how little a is across from 15, the smallest angle? That tells us little a should be the smallest side, and angle B is our biggest angle, so little b should be our biggest side. And then 72 is our middle, so C should be between these two, and it is, okay? So now if I go down to this one, this is a little bit different because we have angle, side, angle. And one of the things I'm gonna do right away is just write over here what I want. I need to find the measure of angle C, and then I'm gonna label that this is little c, this is little a, this is little b. So again, it just turns out this example, again, we're looking for the same thing, but it's not always gonna be that way. We're looking for angle C, little a, and little b. Now, to get started with this one, I have to find angle C first, because to do law of sines, you need an angle and its opposite side. So to find angle C, what I would do is I would add 37 plus 75, which is 112, and I would subtract that from 180, which is 68. Okay? Then what I can do, now I know angle C and little c, so what I can do is use that to find little a and little b. So I'm gonna go sine of c over little c, and I can find a or b next. I'm gonna do a first. Okay, so I would go sine of 68 over 22 equals sine of 37 over little a. Okay, then I'm gonna do cross products. So I get sine 68a equals 22 sine 37. Then this is multiplied, so I'm gonna divide by sine of 68. And then little a, if I type that in, remember to hit enter after the sine of 37. And when I go to to punch that into my calculator, if I go 22 sine 37 enter divided by sine 68, did you guys get 14.28? Okay, so this is 14.28. So that would be this little a right here. And we did find angle C to be 68 degrees. Now we just have to do that same thing, and we need to find our B. So again, I'm gonna go sine of C over little c equals sine of B over little b. So sine of C is sine of 68, little c is 22, sine of B is sine of 75, and little b is b. Okay, then I would cross multiply and I'd go sine 68b equals 22 sine of 75. This is multiplied, so I divide by sine of 68. And so I would hit enter right here. So I would go 22 sine 75 enter divided by sine of 68. So, did anyone punch that in?
253.52.
No. Why do I not trust you, Eden? Did you get 22.92? 22.92. All right, so we're gonna skip this first one here, but I just kind of want to show you what you would do. Probably what I would do in this situation is I would just sketch that out. So, you know, call your triangle ABC, and then they're saying A is 56, B is 38, little a is 12. And then again, you'd be looking for little b, little c, as well as angle C. So you're looking for angle C, you're looking for little b, and you're looking for little c. Would you know how to do it then? Everybody get that? Okay. Then when we get out here, we'll do this one, cause this has different letters, okay? So let's just draw this out first. We have N, P, Q. So across from N is gonna be little n, across from P is little p, across from Q is little q. You do the problem exactly like if it was A, B, C. There's no difference there. So over here, what I need to know is, well, right now I know that P is 42, I know that Q is 65, and I know that little n is 5. So what I need is I need the measure of angle N, I need little p, and I need little q. Okay, so angle N, how I would find that is I would add these two together and subtract from 180. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is find P or Q, doesn't matter which one. And to do this, you have to know angle N and little n. You always have to know an angle and its opposite side. And in this one, once I find angle N, I know I would be able to do sine of N over little n, okay? And then I can do P maybe first, sine of P over little p. So when I substitute in, I get sine of 73 over 5 equals sine of 42 over p, okay? Then I would multiply and I get sine 73p equals 5 sine 42. Divide by sine of 73. Okay, and P would equal, so what I would do there is just type in 5 sine 42, enter, divide by sine 73. Did anyone do that? Did anyone get an answer? 3.50. 3.50, thank you. Do you guys agree with that? 3.50, thank you. So that is our P, okay? And then I would be able to use, again, sine of N over little n equals sine of Q over little q, so that I can find little q. So this again would be sine 73 over 5 equals sine Q is 65 over Q. And then we'd use cross products. So I have sine 73Q equals 5 sine 65. And this is multiplied, so we would divide by sine of 73. And Q would equal, I would go 5 sine 65, enter, divided by sine 73. Did anyone get an answer? 4.74. We agree with that? Okay. And again, you can always kind of check, like P should be across from a smaller angle than Q, and then N is across from the biggest angle, so that should be your biggest side. All right, so you guys have that worksheet from yesterday. So we're just gonna add to it, and we're gonna do these 3 problems on the page that has a 38 on the bottom. So you're gonna kind of ignore what I had written on top. You're gonna do these 3, and then on page 39, you're gonna go 6 through 11 and number 13. And I believe I posted a key in Schoology for you guys. If you don't find it there, I have a paper copy. Did you think it was hard today?
Yeah.